Hello?
Sonia, Erica didn't come home last night.
Mount Laurel, New Jersey, there is abject despair tonight over the disappearance of Erica Crippen Crosby. Action News reporter Shari Williams is live outside a pub in Cherry Hill, the last place the woman was seen the night of December 30th.
Erica was an ambitious medical student, a confident, beautiful 26-year-old mother of 2 daughters, newly married to her soulmate, Kyle Crosby. They had known each other since high school and recently rekindled their connection through social media. Kyle was 28 and worked as a union boilermaker, a job that often required him to be away for weeks at a time. Kyle had the entrepreneurial bug and went on to start his own personal training business, which he creatively called Train Insane or Remain Plain. Together, the couple had big plans. She wanted to be a doctor and was well on her path, and he wanted to open a fleet of gyms. They dreamed of buying a big, beautiful home and someday moving their family to California. They both agreed that the lifestyle there better suited their aspirations. Kyle and Erica had 2 young children, a 2-month-old baby girl named Kaylee, who they affectionately called their little ballerina, and a 7-year-old daughter, Amira, from Erica's previous long-term relationship. The young parents fondly referred to Amira as their little princess. Although Amira's father remained actively involved, Kyle also treated her as his own. And baby Kaylee was considered their miracle baby due to Erica's challenging pregnancy. It was the end of 2014, and the new year was just around the corner. New Year's Eve was typically a holiday designated for family time, but with Kyle having to work during the holiday, Erica set her sights on the next best thing, a celebration with her girlfriends. Having been bedridden for months and given birth just a couple of months prior, Erica couldn't wait for the fun, even though this time Kyle wouldn't be included. Due to a tough, high-risk pregnancy, Erica was eager to reclaim her life. She was making steady progress toward regaining her pre-pregnancy body and looked forward to celebrating the new year with friends over a glass of her favorite whiskey, 2 things she missed most during her pregnancy. So Erica got busy searching for a classy venue where the girls could rendezvous and looking for the perfect outfit to wear for the special occasion. But nothing seemed to suit her taste. Although Erica expected Kyle to be away during the holidays, he managed to find time on December 30th for them to enjoy an evening together before the new year. The couple dressed up and headed to PJ Wellaghan's pub and restaurant in Cherry Hill for a pre-holiday celebration. Erica and Kyle appeared to be having a great time. They captured the moment around 10:50 p.m. when Erica took and shared a photo of them looking happy, smiling, and enjoying their evening together. However, this would be the last time anyone heard from Erica. After that night, and more specifically after that photo was taken, Erica vanished. Speaking of people searching for you, today's video is sponsored by Aura. Did you know that even if you're not actively posting on social media, your personal information is available online for anyone who wants it? I'm talking about your full name, phone number, home address, email address, information about your relatives, and more. It's all out there for anyone who desires to make use of it. And data brokers, which are companies that are in the business of making money from your personal details, are selling your information to scammers, anyone looking to target you. That's why I turned to Aura. I've been using Aura to protect myself from identity theft online. These days, it's no longer a question of whether your personal information gets into the wrong hands. It's a matter of when it happens. And when it does, it can turn your life upside down. When I did a little digging on my own information, I was shocked at how much information was out there. Past and present phone numbers, addresses, email addresses, yep, and even the names of my family members popped up with searches on my name alone. It is disturbing. Using Aura was a no-brainer for me since my mom and husband had their identities stolen. Since I've been using Aura, I sleep a little easier knowing it's working around the clock to safeguard my personal details for me. It reaches out to the data brokers that have my information, and it actively takes steps to have it removed by automatically sending opt-out requests to them on my behalf. Aura uncovered more than 18 data brokers that were actively selling my personal information and alerted me that one of my email addresses was found on the dark web. Cleaning up my information not only helps to reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from spammers who could use my information to access my personal accounts and sensitive information. But that's not all. With Aura, I enjoy a suite of features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more, all without the hassle of juggling multiple apps. It's a breeze to set up, and the cherry on top is I get all these perks bundled together at a price that doesn't break the bank. Aura brings it all together into one solution. And if you sign up through my link right now at aura.com/sleuthylucy, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial. For a more direct route, you can simply click the link in the description below. January 7th, 2015.
Hello, Mrs. Ramos Spencer?
Yes?
Amira hasn't been picked up from school.
At the end of the school day, Erica's Aunt Sonia received a call from Amira's school saying that Erica hadn't picked her up. Sonia was initially surprised to be contacted, but then quickly her surprise escalated to worry. It was completely out of character for Erica to miss picking up her daughter. She was always punctual and never missed a school pickup. As an exceptional mother whose life centered around her children, Sonia sensed that something was amiss. She immediately drove to the school to pick up Amira before heading to Erica's apartment. Overcome with worry, on the way she called her sister Barbara and asked her to meet her at Erica's place. Upon arriving, Sonia was taken aback by the flurry of police cars outside the apartment building. The grim reality of something far more sinister than she had ever imagined struck her like a ton of bricks. Approaching the apartment, she was not only filled with anxiety for herself, but also deeply concerned for Amira. As she stepped into the apartment, a wave of anxiety washed over her. The apartment looked as if a hurricane had torn through it, and her heart sank at the sight of the chaotic scene. A broken window, uneaten fast food scattered around, and overturned furniture painted a grim picture. This mess was entirely out of character for Erica, who always kept a clean and orderly home. Erica's routine was to do nighttime cleaning when everyone was asleep, and by all accounts, she would have been horrified by the state of her apartment. But even more alarming to Sonia was the missing shower curtain, sheets from the bed, and the absence of any sign of Erica. Kyle was there, but he didn't look like himself. Despite being known for his neat grooming, he appeared disheveled and almost unrecognizable, having not shaved for days. He also seemed to be visibly high on something as the police officer on the scene was interviewing him. As Sonia traversed through the apartment, Barbara arrived, and the police took Kyle away to the station for further questioning. Earlier, Kyle had called his mother, who came by to pick up baby Kaylee. Overwhelmed by the gravity of the scene, Sonia called Amira's father to arrange to have him come and pick her up too. Now alone in the apartment, Sonia and Barbara searched for clues. While searching, they made a horrifying discovery, something that instantly convinced them that something terrible must have happened to Erica. It was a bitterly cold winter day that day in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and still inside the apartment were Erica's keys, purse, and coat. But there was no Erica. Before Sonia and Barbara arrived at the apartment, The Mount Laurel, New Jersey police responded to a welfare check request at the 5200 block of Aberdeen Drive. Erica hadn't picked up her daughter from school, and her attendance had been erratic all week, prompting the school to contact the police. Officers arrived at the apartment in force. Inside the apartment, they were confronted by chaos. Open and partially eaten fast food lay on the table. Broken glass littered a corner, and the baby's swing was bent and turned upside down. The scene was alarming. With uneaten fast food strewn about the table, it was clear that the 7-year-old Amira had been finding food and fending for herself that week. Kyle was found disheveled and seemingly high. The officers discovered the baby in her bathtub, where there was a small amount of water. She was fully dressed and in a soiled diaper, all indications to the officers that proper care was not being provided in Erica's absence. The officers asked Kyle if other family members could assist with the girls in Erica's absence, so Kyle called his mother to pick up the baby. Shortly after, Sonia, stunned by police presence, arrived with Amira, and Barbara soon followed. The officers took Kyle to the police station, leaving Sonia and Barbara to search the residence while they awaited for Amira's father to pick her up. Both were alarmed not only by the state of the apartment, but also by the disturbing discovery of Erica's keys, purse, coat, and car, all left behind. Yet there was no sign of Erica anywhere. Erica Lashay Crippen was born on March 8, 1988, in Willingboro, New Jersey. She was raised and educated in the Camden County School District and graduated from Timber Creek High School in Ariel, New Jersey. Erica was raised by her aunts Sonia and Barbara after the tragic loss of her mother at the age of 13. Erica endured an extreme amount of loss while growing up. But despite those challenges, she became an incredibly ambitious young woman who dreamt of achieving great things in life. Erica was pursuing a career in the medical field with dual admission to Rowan and Drexel universities. She wanted to be a doctor, and she was well underway to accomplishing her goal. She was deeply committed to her career and loved connecting with people who shared her passions. Described as hardworking, yet kind-hearted and friendly, Erica was adored by her family and friends alike. Her aunts described her as being a funny child. She loved playing practical jokes on others. Her boundless energy and vibrant personality were what her friends cherished most about her. Known for her sharp wit and tendency to exaggerate things for laughs, Erica was consistently the life of the party. Her favorite things were family, fitness, and fashion, and super high heels were her vice. She also had the legs to really show them off. Erica would excitedly post about her shoe shopping sprees. Then, with the eager anticipation of a child on Christmas Eve, she would post about her excitement as she awaited the arrival of her items. Erica loved social media and frequently shared her life on Facebook. She treated her page like a personal journal, frequently featuring pictures of herself adorned in purple, her favorite color. She shared everything: what she was doing, eating, feeling, her workout schedule, and motivational words as she pursued her healthy lifestyle. She was passionate about working out and staying fit. From morning to night, she posted her locations, giving her family and friends constant insight into her whereabouts. And her family often checked her Facebook page to stay updated on her life. Erica was a girl's girl, believing there was no such thing as friends, only family, as she considered her girlfriends to be family too. But Erica's most precious achievement was the birth of her 2 daughters, Amira and Kaylee. Amira, her first child, was born from a long-standing relationship that started in high school. When that ended, Erica reconnected with Kyle, a familiar face from her high school days. Erica and Kyle attended Timber Creek Regional High School in Ariel, but their relationship didn't turn romantic until they reconnected and started talking on social media years later. They shared common interests, particularly their ambition and love for working out. Their relationship played out on social media, with Erica sharing their reconnection, milestones in their relationship, and frequently expressing her love for Kyle. When she and Kyle reconnected back in June of 2012, she was a smart and sassy single mother to her then 5-year-old Amira, and she was on her path to becoming a doctor. Erica had been working as a home health aide in a hospice unit. Her relationship with Kyle was a whirlwind romance, and Aunt Sonia described it as a Cinderella story, as if she had lost her slipper and Kyle was her Prince Charming who found it. After a couple of years of dating, Erica and Kyle were thrilled to learn in early 2014 that they were expecting their first child together. Their excitement spread to their families, and in April, the couple gave everyone another surprise. They got married. The joyous occasion unfolded on Facebook, with loved ones celebrating their union. Erica was head over heels for Kyle, and her family warmly embraced him as one of their own. However, on the evening of December 30th, 2014, the Cinderella story came to an abrupt end when her social media updates ceased, and Erica seemingly vanished without a trace. January 2nd, 2015. At the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve, it was customary for Erica's family to call or text to wish each other a Happy New Year, but strangely, Erica did not do so this year. It had been 3 days since her last social media post on December 30th, and her usually active page had gone unusually quiet, which was particularly bizarre given her frequent posting habits. Erica's family had been in touch with Kyle, who said he hadn't heard from her since she left with friends to celebrate. Growing increasingly worried, the family monitored Erica's Facebook page and tried calling her, but she never answered. Without any Happy New Year wishes from Erica, Aunt Sonia, with whom Erica had lived as a child, became increasingly alarmed by her lack of communication. This silence was unnerving. Erica's page remained inactive, yet the family suddenly began receiving text messages from her today. And while they hadn't spoken with her directly, these messages provided some relief, suggesting she was okay. Despite this, Kyle still needed help with the kids, prompting him to post on Facebook, seeking someone to look after the girls. And although this seemed strange, the family was somewhat soothed as they continued to receive messages from Erica throughout the week, maintaining their sense of comfort. However, this reassurance came to an abrupt halt when 5 days later, Sonia received a call from Amira's school reporting that Erica had not picked her up. This call raised serious concerns and signaled that something might be gravely wrong. January 7th, 2015. Once the police reached Erica's house, they found Kyle Crosby with their 3-month-old daughter, Kaylee. He told police that he was addicted to pills, and his wife was upset by his drug use. For further questioning, the officers took Kyle down to the station. Upon arriving at the police station on that fateful afternoon, Kyle was escorted into an interrogation room, where the officers began questioning him. When asked about Erica's whereabouts, Kyle gave conflicting statements and claimed he hadn't seen her since New Year's Eve. This immediately raised suspicions among the detectives, because it was already January 7th, a full 7 days later. Kyle explained that he and Erica had gone to P.J. Willihan's, a local restaurant and pub, on December 30th. He further stated that they wanted to go out on New Year's Eve, but after failing to find a babysitter, he stayed home to watch the children while Erica went out with her girlfriends. However, the detectives noted during their welfare check that Erica's car was still parked outside their apartment. When questioned about this inconsistency, Kyle replied Erica was picked up by her friends on New Year's Eve. Kyle told the officers that Erica had disappeared before, vanishing for days at a time, only to eventually return. However, it being several days since Erica was last seen, the officers advised Kyle that he should file a missing persons report. So he did. Despite Kyle's cooperation, the officers harbored deep suspicions about him concerning Erica's disappearance. He waited 7 days to report her missing, and it wasn't of his own volition. Kyle's erratic behavior, and his delay in reporting Erica missing led the detectives to suspect foul play. But they didn't have enough evidence to hold him, so they let him go. The next day, while Erica's Aunt Sonia was at work, the detectives contacted her to inform her and the family that they had opened a missing persons investigation. The detectives requested the family's assistance to help with the investigation. Agreeing to fully cooperate, the family got together with the detectives for interviews. In the interviews with Erica's aunts, they learned that Erica was an avid Facebook user, regularly updating her whereabouts and activities. Sonia also spoke fondly of Kyle, expressing that he was like one of their own, that he would often spend time hanging out at her home on game nights. She shared that Kyle and Erica's relationship was like a fairy tale. She said that she thought that Kyle was good for Erica and intimated that they were happy. Sure, they had their growing pains, but they were happy, she explained. Aunt Sonia also revealed that New Year's Eve was traditionally family time, making it unusual for Erica not to have spent it with her daughters. She recounted that on December 30th, Erica and Kyle celebrated out, a fact confirmed by a photo Erica posted from P.J. Wellaghan's that night. The next day, New Year's Eve, Sonia conveyed that Kyle unexpectedly called twice within 10 minutes. Initially, he asked if she could watch the kids so that he and Erica could go out, but then he quickly called back to say that he would stay in with the children instead. Although Sonia found it odd that Erica would plan to be away from her kids on such a family-centric holiday, she was still hopeful that she would hear directly from Erica at some point. Then Erica's uncle Kanye added that as New Year's Eve progressed, he received several worried calls from Kyle, who said he couldn't reach Erica despite several attempts. Erica's family also tried contacting her, but was met with silence. The entire night of New Year's Eve passed without anyone hearing from Erica. However, it was the absence of any New Year's greetings from Erica that night into New Year's Day, which was highly uncharacteristic, that solidified their fears that something was seriously wrong. But their fears would wane when Erica began to reach out to them through text on January 2nd. The family told the detectives that although they had been unable to reach her since the night of December 30th, they didn't think much of it as she was texting them throughout the following week. However, now after some time to reflect, they realized the text didn't sound like Erica. The language and abbreviations used were uncharacteristic of Erica's typical way of speaking, leading them to the unfortunate realization that someone else might have been sending those messages. They said soon after, Kyle started behaving suspiciously as he kept asking family members to look after the children. After speaking with the family, the detectives became more suspicious of Kyle. They continued their interviews with Erica's friends, hoping for more clues about Erica and Kyle's relationship. When they spoke with Amaris, Erica's best friend, they learned that everything wasn't as it seemed. Although the family loved Kyle and viewed him as a family member, Amaris was not that fond of him. She revealed that Erica and Kyle's relationship was rocky and that Erica was at the end of her rope, even considering breaking up. Amaris told the detectives that everyone was a fan of Kyle, but since she was the only one who felt differently, she kept her feelings about him to herself. Amaris said that, over time, Erica had shared details about the troubles brewing in their relationship, like his drug problems, past criminal record, and fights which at times turned physical. Amaris said she didn't like him because of what he put Erica through. She said she remembered when Erica used to cry. It would tear her apart. But she knew that her job as a friend was to respect her decisions and her partner. She wanted to support her friend and respect her relationship despite their problems. Amaris said that they were living a fairy tale, but behind closed doors, problems were escalating. She told detectives that despite the issues, Erica loved Kyle enough to put him in rehab. While he was there, Erica wrote to him saying she was close to being done and that she wasn't happy. However, despite all of that, Erica supported him. She wanted him to get better. After hearing from Erica's family and friends, the detectives were convinced this was likely a homicide. Within 24 hours of Kyle reporting Erica missing, the detectives escalated the matter to a homicide case and turned their attention to Erica's social media to uncover more clues about Erica's possible whereabouts. There, the detectives looked for patterns and for the last time she may have been active. The detectives knew that critical information may be in Erica's social media profile. They knew that the data found there could be as important as physical evidence found at a crime scene. Her last Facebook update was a picture of her and Kyle at PJ Wellaghan's on December 30th. This seemed to line up with Kyle's story. The detectives noted that in the picture, they looked happy. It didn't appear that there were any of the problems that Amaris detailed in her statement. However, the fact that Erica, an avid user who posted from morning to night, had not updated her page since December 30th was extremely concerning to the detectives. Considering the length of time that had transpired and Erica's posting routine, the detectives were growing more convinced that this was homicide because if Erica did run away, she would likely have continued to post, but she did not. With no leads on where Erica might be or any evidence linking Kyle to a crime, the detectives turned to Erica and Kyle's neighbors for more possible leads. As the detectives began canvassing the neighborhood, one neighbor told the detectives that police were frequently called to the condo unit where Erica and Kyle lived. She also said that Kyle appeared to be unemployed. The detectives continued to knock on doors, talking to everyone they could, but nothing. It was a dead end. They had suspicions, but no more information for an arrest, and Erica's social media also turned up empty for them. So the detectives resorted to checking Kyle's social media, but it turned up like Erica's. He uploaded a photo of him and Erica showing them happy. From their perspective, the couple seemed perfect. However, something did stick out to the detectives. They found a post Kyle made on January 2nd, looking for a babysitter for the girls. This post corroborated what Kyle told the detectives when he was at the station. He said that Erica left on New Year's Eve and that he hadn't seen her since that night. By this time, the family had become filled with fear about what was transpiring. They were overcome with questions about where Erica could be. They were now convinced that things were bad. Meanwhile, the detectives continued their investigation by contacting Erica's cell phone carrier, requesting coordinates for the last location her phone pinged from. When the detectives entered the coordinates into Google Maps, they were directed to a location on Echelon Road in Camden County, New Jersey. There they found a group of apartment buildings. However, more concerning was that there was a body of water within perimeter of the area. Although they were still holding on to the hope of finding Erica alive, these experienced detectives also recognized that their efforts may be too late. So the lead detective went out to Echelon Road. As he observed the location, he noticed it was highly populated. In his opinion, this wasn't a place where someone would dispose of a body. There would be too many potential witnesses. As he approached the body of water, he quickly noted a 2-inch thick layer of ice over the surface. Again, he thought, this is not an ideal location to dispose of a body. The discovery of the ice layer over the body of water brought the detective relief as he determined that Erica's body could not be there. Although the officer breathed a sigh of relief, it was quickly followed by an overwhelming sense of deflation. Erica was still not found. January 9th, 2015. It had been over 10 days since Erica had gone missing. Seeing Erica's face and name plastered everywhere was both a bit unnerving and reassuring at the same time for her family. They could not believe that they hadn't heard from Erica. There had been no word from her since her post on December 30th, which showed she was on a date with Kyle in Cherry Hill, but they remained hopeful that she would return to them unharmed. Based on the detective's strong suspicion that Kyle may have been involved in Erica's disappearance, but lacking direct evidence linking him to the crime, they opted for a new approach. The condition of the apartment and the discovery of Kaylee, soiled and unattended in a baby bathtub with shallow water, provided them with grounds to charge him with a lesser offense. This would allow the police to legally stop his vehicle and take him into custody. Consequently, the detectives decided to charge Kyle with 2 counts of child endangerment. However, upon arriving at Erica and Kyle's apartment, the police immediately noticed that Erica's red Ford Taurus was missing, and Kyle was gone as well. Attempts to reach him by phone were unsuccessful, revealing that Kyle had turned off his phone. Upon hearing this news, Erica's family was overwhelmed with worry and grief. They also became increasingly frustrated with the Mount Laurel police, questioning the effectiveness of their efforts and how they could allow Kyle to slip away unnoticed.
Police tell me, Jim, they are searching for Erica tonight, but still no leads on her whereabouts. And now we are learning that her husband has also dropped out of sight. The couple, they were last seen, as you mentioned, Jim, here on December 30th at the PJ Wellahan's in Cherry Hill. That is where the investigation begins. But tonight, Erica's family is stepping in, holding their own search for her.
She loved her kids and she didn't want history to repeat itself. She lost so much in life, and I know for a fact she would not leave her daughters.
A family in pain tonight because one of their loved ones is missing. Erica Crippen Crosby hasn't been seen or heard from in over 10 days. Family members gathered to hold signs expressing their love and to search for her. The 26-year-old is the mother of 2 daughters, a 7-year-old and a newborn.
My little cousin America has to grow up with her mom, only with a little bit of memory, 7 years of memories with her mom. And my cousin Kaylee, she doesn't even have memories.
Erica lived with her children and her husband, Kyle Crosby, here at this Mount Laurel apartment. The couple was last seen together at this pub in Cherry Hill, December 30th, which is the last anyone saw Erica. A friend showed us the last text message she received from Erica that night.
Hey girl, call me, we need to talk.
And now, Kyle is nowhere to be found as well. Also gone is Erica's car, a cranberry red Ford Taurus. Family members say the couple had a rocky marriage. They now fear that Erica is dead.
If you kill my sister, let me bury my sister. Let me do that. At least. If that's what you did, you can run. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you get away. I want to bury my sister, though. I want her home.
Family members say investigators could have done more to question Erica's husband before he went missing. Tonight, they voiced their frustration.
The moment that this came about, they should have held him for 48 hours and got all the warrants and everything that they needed. That's called negligence on their behalf.
This sent a strong message to the detectives that Kyle would be the only way they would get answers regarding Erica's mysterious disappearance. But since Kyle was nowhere to be found, the detectives turned their attention to Kyle's friends and family to see if they had any information on where Kyle might be and what may be going on. The detectives first contacted Kyle's mother, Jo Crosby, who was very cooperative. Jo was eager to help with the investigation. When the detectives inquired about the last time she spoke with Kyle, she replied that she hadn't spoken with him for about 7 days, since January 2nd. During the interview, she raised concern that her son was now missing too. Erica's Aunt Sonia also reached out to Jo to find out what she may know about the situation. Jo told Sonia she didn't know anything, but something deep down told Sonia that Jo wasn't being completely honest. Sonia pressed Jo, saying, "Come on, you must know something, Jo." Then what Jo said next sent jolts through Sonia. Jo said, well, you know, it's not looking good for Erica. Maybe they ran off to do a Romeo and Juliet. Sonia was speechless when she heard this. January 10th, 2015. After speaking with Kyle's family and friends, the detectives were on the hunt for Kyle. A bolo was put out as everyone began searching for him. They didn't have enough information to charge him with murder, so they went for child endangerment, a lesser charge that would enable them to apprehend him. By this time, both children had been removed from the home, but they still had one problem. They had no idea of Kyle's whereabouts. The news that Kyle could not be located shocked and angered the family, leading some of them to take to Facebook to send scathing messages directly to Kyle. Erica's cousin posted, "You can run, but you can't hide. God sees all things, Kyle Crosby. We let you into our family, ate at our tables. Just do the right thing, man. Call me from a different number, please. Dead or alive, we need closure. Do what's right. Whatever happened, I know it was a mistake. Y'all seemed happy. And I know you loved her. What's done is done. But you need to let us know something. My number is in your inbox." Then the detectives received a much-needed break in the case. Kyle's father contacted the detectives to tell them that Kyle had phoned them from an unknown number that morning. He told detectives that Kyle gave them a number they didn't recognize. The detectives feverishly leaped into action, contacting the service provider for GPS coordinates of the phone. And as it would turn out, the call led back to a convenience store in Maryland. Working collaboratively with Maryland police, the detectives were alerted that the license plate on Erica's car was spotted by license plate readers on Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. They confirmed that Erica's car had traveled from New Jersey to Maryland. January 12, 2015. On January 12th, Kyle returned to New Jersey and was spotted by an off-duty police officer who noticed a vehicle matching Erica's, with Kyle in it. When officers approached, Kyle would not relent easily. He led the police on a car chase. When the officers caught up with him, he jumped out of the vehicle and ran away on foot. Ultimately, Kyle was caught and arrested on January 12th in Brooklawn, Camden County, New Jersey. The Mount Laurel detectives were informed later that evening that Kyle had been taken into custody. By this time, the detectives were confident that Kyle was responsible, but they still didn't have Erica's body. The detectives knew that it would be difficult securing a murder conviction without Erica's body. So the detectives immediately requested a search warrant for Kyle's cell phone records and Erica's car. When the detectives got the search warrant and opened the trunk, they found a crime scene. In it, the forensic team found a shovel with sand on it, a bag of cement, silver duct tape, cans of air freshener, linen, and a receipt from Home Depot. When the detectives requested the footage from the Home Depot store, they found that the store's surveillance cameras caught Kyle coming out of the store with the items found in the trunk. Upon this discovery, the detectives had strong suspicions that Kyle used Erica's car to dispose of her body. For days, she had been missing and feared dead. Now they were sure she had been killed. As the detectives searched the car, they looked inside the glove compartment. What they found there had the potential to significantly alter the course of the investigation. There, they discovered an old Garmin portable navigation device, the type that plugs into a cigarette lighter. The detectives knew they were onto something huge. They had Kyle's cell phone and records, and now a digital device that may have tracked Kyle's movements in the days when they could not locate him. This discovery could provide the decisive evidence needed to either charge Kyle with murder or clear his name. However, the detectives continued their diligent work, gathering evidence until just an hour before Kyle's arraignment the following morning. They collected additional evidence from Kyle and Erica's apartment. Approximately 6 officers were present at the scene. One detective, donning blue gloves, was equipped with a forensics kit, brown evidence bags, and an envelope, while a police dog conducted a search of the property outside. Then on January 13th, Kyle made his first appearance at the Burlington County Court, where he was officially charged with murder of Erica Crippen, who was still missing at the time. Kyle pleaded not guilty to the charges. Despite his plea, he was held on a $1.2 million bond.
Developing news from New Jersey. A Mount Laurel man has been arrested and charged with murder in the death of his wife, who's been missing now for 2 weeks. Action News reporter Catherine Scott is live outside the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office with the latest on the investigation. Catherine.
Sarah, Kyle Crosby is now being held on $1.2 million bail after being charged early this morning in the death of his wife. Investigators say they found several items in his trunk that they believe are of value when it comes to the evidence. However, they didn't go into detail as to what that evidence was. Her body still has not been found. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office has announced that 28-year-old Kyle J. Crosby of Mount Laurel was charged early this morning with 1 count of murder. His wife, 26-year-old mother of 2, Erica Crippen Crosby, has been missing since New Year's Eve. Brooklawn police took him into custody last night in Belmar after a traffic stop that ended with officers chasing Crosby on foot.
The news of this deeply troubled Erica's family. It was finally becoming real to them that Kyle was indeed involved in Erica's murder. Her aunts were deeply traumatized by this realization. They couldn't fathom such a betrayal, and they begged Kyle to tell them where Erica's body was located so that they could give her a proper burial.
Police raided the parents' home of a South Jersey man who was charged with killing his still missing wife. Kyle Crosby was arrested on Monday night driving Erica Crippen Crosby's car. Police, along with the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office and Child Services, removed the couple's 2-month-old from Kyle Crosby's parents' home in Gloucester Township late last night. They also removed bags of evidence. Police also searched the house and a backyard shed. They presume Crippen Crosby was murdered. She has not been seen since the day before New Year's Eve.
Meanwhile, the detectives immediately went back to work, analyzing Kyle's phone records and GPS data. However, it took quite some time to get into the locked devices. March 2015. Approximately 2 months passed before the detectives were finally able to extract the data from Kyle's cell phone. However, when they did, they immediately saw red flags. They saw there were some deleted communications between Kyle and his mother, Jo. The messages were extremely disturbing to the detectives. The messages painted a picture of the early morning hours of December 31st, which was New Year's Eve, a time when Kyle was having a fight with Erica and texting his mom in real time. At 3:20 a.m., Jo texted Kyle, "Please do not touch her in any way or form." Then 13 minutes later, Kyle replied, "I'm not that stupid." This discovery was very concerning to the detectives because when they spoke with Jo, she told them that she hadn't been in contact with Kyle for 7 days, and now they were finding a string of text messages between them. So the detectives contacted the cell phone carrier and requested Jo's phone records. The detectives were surprised to find that Jo Crosby's cell phone pinged just down the street from Kyle's apartment in the early hours of December 31st around 7 a.m. Not only had Jo been in contact with Kyle, but she was also likely at his home at 7 a.m., only hours after Erica went missing. This discovery prompted the detectives to immediately bring Jo in for questioning. However, it was only after Jo was confronted with this information that she conceded that she recently deleted several text messages between her and Kyle. When the detectives asked why, Jo said that she figured that they were already in possession of the messages and that they wouldn't need them from her phone. Jo also admitted that she did go to Kyle's apartment the next morning to babysit the girls while Kyle, in her words, ran errands. Armed with this new evidence, on March 16, 2015, Jo Crosby was charged with hindering apprehension and tampering with evidence. Now 2 Crosbys were in custody, but Erica's family still had no idea where to find Erica. Despite being caught red-handed, Jo pleaded not guilty and was released from jail after posting a $12,500 bail. And as she returned to her Sicklerville home after being arrested for helping Kyle conceal the murder of his wife, Erica, the news was there to greet her.
The mother of a South Jersey murder suspect has been charged with helping her son conceal his wife's body. 67-year-old Jo Crosby was arrested at her Sicklerville home this morning. She has been charged with hindering apprehension and tampering with physical evidence by destroying records. Crosby's 28-year-old son, Kyle, remains in jail on charges he murdered his wife, Erica Crippen. Though Burlington County prosecutors wouldn't elaborate, they maintain Crosby helped her son hide his wife's remains. Crippen's body has never been found.
Meanwhile, Erica's family continued to beg Kyle to tell them where she was so that they could give her a proper burial. The family not only feared the worst but expected it, given Erica's heart condition, which could have severely impacted her ability to survive in a stressful situation. With all this time away, and no contact with her most precious assets, her 2 beautiful daughters. They were certain she was gone. The family grew frustrated and determined to find Erica, so they started to organize searches and created a Facebook page devoted to recovering Erica's body titled Team Bring Erica Back Home. The page amassed more than 5,600 supporters.
Hopeful that we can find something that leads to my sister.
I met up with the family and friends of Erica Crippen this morning, and we went to some locations that they had tips on where Kyle, her husband, would frequent.
Oh my God.
First, we went to the house that Kyle grew up in. That was in Pine Hill, New Jersey. And so we got to the house. Nobody was living there. And we searched. All these areas in South Jersey, they're very wooded and dense woods behind these houses. We looked under every rock. We went deep into the woods and looked around. While I was back there, I spoke to Barbara Kellum. She is Erica's aunt, but she basically raised her.
Police told me that they found a significant amount of blood. They won't give you the exact details, but they said significant amount of blood. And her home.
In the home?
In the trunk.
That led them to believe that there was pretty much no way that Erica could be still living if she lost that much blood. She also told me that she's a realist.
Well, it's been over a month now. We know she had a heart condition, so, you know, we can only expect the worst as our family. So what we want is her body so we can do what she wanted, to be cremated and put a locket around her daughter's neck.
From there, we went, we drove on to where Kyle's parents live now. Now, that is the actual address that the police went to search in the backyard and the shed right when the story came out. They didn't find anything. Barbara had permission from the police department to search those woods. So we went back there. It was very, very cold outside, but they didn't care about any of that. The prosecutor's office and the police departments aren't being of much help, according to her sister, Janai.
The family was searching for Erica's body every day. Erica's best friend, Amaris, quit her job for the search. Their determination overshadowed their fearful thoughts of being the ones to find her body. It was a terrifying possibility, but they were on a mission to find her.
Just tell us where Erica is. We just want Erica's body. We know that he's committed a crime, but there's evidence, enough evidence to state that he has done that, and I just want him to tell us where she is.
How well did you know Kyle?
I've known Kyle for the past 2 years since their relationship together. And recently, for the past year, I've known Kyle almost every weekend. He comes to my house for all the games and everything.
Neighbors said sometimes they heard a couple fights.
She never shared that with us. She's always kept him positive. Moving forward, we just want Kaylee back. She almost died having this child. She was on a 6 months bed rest to have Kaylee. And since she's done that, given her life to save her child, I think it's only fair that since Kyle's taken hers, that he at least give her back to her family.
The detectives knew that without her body, they had an uphill challenge to find enough evidence to convince a jury that Kyle murdered Erica. They needed to find her body, so they focused their efforts on unlocking the Garmin GPS device. The detectives had a theory that Kyle used Erica's car and left the area to dispose of her body. They also hypothesized that the GPS device likely held the keys to tracing Kyle's movements. Finally, the detectives were able to access the device and extract the data from it. To their surprise, the device was actually leaving digital breadcrumbs every few hundred feet, laying out almost exactly the course of where the device had been. The GPS device was indeed the break they so desperately needed for the case. But there was one catch. There were over 8,000 location points that spanned a couple hundred miles contained on the device. Any one of them could have been the location of Erica's body. With over 8,500 possible locations, the possibilities seemed endless. However, the detectives noticed some pre-programmed locations in the device that had been input and saved by someone. Next to some of these locations were notations like IDK for I don't know, or maybe. Could these be clues to where Kyle might have buried Erica? The detectives pondered. Judging from the notations, the detectives couldn't help but wonder what else could they possibly mean. Identifying those using Google Earth, the detectives were able to get a street view of the locations. One of the locations was a rural location in the middle of Maryland, not far from a concrete plant. There were railroad tracks nearby. This confirmed for the detectives that Kyle was looking for a place to dispose of Erica's body. The detectives were under immense pressure to find Erica, knowing that locating her was crucial to securing a conviction and ensuring justice was served. After a 2-hour drive, the lead detective arrived at a location in Maryland, the tracks at Sparrow Point. However, after surveying the area, he determined that it was too busy with traffic from the nearby plant and a major highway, making it an unlikely place to hide a body. Despite this, he searched for any clues that Kyle might have left behind, such as disposed of trash. Although it was the middle of a frigid winter, the smell of decomposition would still permeate the air, but there was no such smell present. Leaving the area, the detective headed to the second location about 2 miles away, a concrete plant surrounded by tall buildings and large mounds. It seemed like a plausible spot to dispose of a body. However, the detective soon discovered that the site was highly secure, with a 24-hour security checkpoint. He quickly ruled out this area due to the lack of access and the fact that license plates were recorded. However, to be thorough, the detective checked the logs, but Erica's plates were not listed. After these initial attempts, the detective decided to focus on locations where the vehicle had stopped more than 10 minutes, reasoning that it would take several minutes to remove a body from the car and dispose of it. He identified an area where Kyle had stopped for 5 minutes one night, and then again for 14 minutes 2 days later. Reviewing Google Maps, the detective found a small area on Old Frederick Road in Carroll County where a vehicle could park. Given that Kyle had spent more time in this location than at others, the detectives concentrated their search there. The area was wooded and seemed like a plausible place to hide a body. March 17, 2015. Going back to Maryland for a second search, the detective was cautiously optimistic as he approached this new location. This time, he requested that the search team come down to this area to begin searching through the tree line. There, just 85 feet off of the road, they found Erica. Her deceased body was discovered in Sykesville, Maryland, a tiny town 30 miles west of Baltimore, hidden under a pile of branches and shrubs to conceal it. Her body was wrapped in a fleece blanket. Her ankles, wrists, and neck were tied with yellow electrical wire. There was silver duct tape, exactly like the tape discovered in the trunk of her car, covering her mouth and nose. The way Erica was found revealed she died a very violent death. However, because of the frigid temperatures, Erica's body was very well preserved. The officers also found a box of partially eaten chicken from Royal Farms, a gas station chain that sells chicken. They also found a business card from Gloucester Township, where Kyle is from, next to Erica's body, showing a telephone number with an 856 area code. Kyle's phone records also revealed that he made a call from a local store in Maryland. After the police conducted 3 searches over more than 2 months, Erica's grief-stricken family finally received the news that detectives found her body on farmland in Sykesville, Carroll County, Maryland. The news brought mixed emotions. They were relieved that she was found, but soon overwhelmed with immense sorrow, knowing she was gone forever. Erica's friends struggled with the fact that she loved Kyle, the very person responsible for her death. They questioned whether she was already deceased before he placed the duct tape over her nose and mouth.
Police have found the body of Mount Laurel's Erica Crippen off the side of a road in Sykesville, Maryland, and they used the GPS in her husband's car to make the discovery. Live outside the couple's former apartment is Action News reporter Kenneth Moten. Kenneth, what's the story here?
Well, Jim, we know the couple's home was left a mess nearly 4 months ago, but investigators have not said if they believe Erica Crippen was killed inside this apartment. Right now, an autopsy is being done to determine a cause of death. Tonight, on the door of the Mount Laurel apartment Kyle Crosby shared with his wife, Erica Crippen, we found an eviction notice for Crosby. But Burlington County's prosecutor says the 28-year-old husband already has a home. Jail.
This is an animal. He need to be in a cage.
Ahmed, who is you to take somebody's life? Who gave you the right?
Investigators believe it was a New Year's Eve murder. Nearly 2 weeks later, Crosby was arrested after a brief chase in his wife's Ford Taurus in Camden County. Authorities say it was the Garmin GPS in that car that would eventually lead them to Crippen's remains Tuesday, dumped behind a tree in rural Sykesville, Maryland.
She was bound with electrical wire around her neck, around her hands, and around her feet. She also had duct tape covering a substantial portion of her facial area.
My reaction, my soul just left my body. Just listening to how they found her.
The prosecutor says the search of GPS data points took months because of bad weather. But Crippen's family says that cold weather also preserved her body.
Later, an autopsy performed by the Baltimore Medical Examiner determined the cause of death to be asphyxiation. The recovery of Erica's body was bittersweet for her family. They had to face the finality that Erica would not come back, but they were grateful to have her body so that they could properly say their goodbyes. Due to the strength of the case, the extensive work involved, and the compelling evidence uncovered, Kyle pled guilty to 1 count of aggravated manslaughter and 1 count of hindering apprehension. He admitted to choking Erica inside their Mount Laurel apartment and then transporting her body to Maryland, where he dumped her in a wooded area on farmland. Kyle claimed he never planned to kill her and acted out of fear afterward. As part of his plea agreement, the 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child were dropped. Charges against his mother, Jo Crosby, were also dropped, even though Kyle never fully disclosed to detectives what happened on that fateful night. The chain of events. The night before New Year's Eve, Kyle and Erica went out to a local restaurant and seemingly had a pleasant evening. Detectives believe that when they returned home, an argument erupted between the couple. At 3:20 a.m. on New Year's Eve morning, Kyle texted his mother as the argument escalated. The confrontation ended with Kyle fatally choking Erica. His immediate priority became disposing of her body to avoid detection. So Kyle began calling Erica's Aunt Sonia and Uncle Kanye on the evening of New Year's Eve, pretending she had disappeared, but she had been deceased since early New Year's Eve morning. In the days that followed, Kyle began texting Erica's family, pretending to be her, to soothe their fears. Detectives discovered that Jo Crosby provided significant assistance to her son in concealing Erica's death. They uncovered several messages Jo sent to Kyle the morning Erica was murdered, including at least 15 text messages exchanged on New Year's Eve and an 18-minute phone conversation. Jo admitted to going to the apartment at 7 a.m. on New Year's Eve to babysit while Kyle ran what she described as errands. In the days following Erica's disappearance, Kyle did not show up for work, and Amira's erratic school attendance and finally not being picked up on the 7th prompted the school to get the police and Erica's family involved. After reporting Erica missing on January 7th, Kyle went to Camden for drugs and picked up a sex worker, whom he brought back to their apartment to get high. While she was there, he told her she could take whatever she wanted from Erica's closet. Kyle turned off his cell phone to avoid detection and began using a burner phone instead. Kyle then traveled to Delaware and Baltimore to find a suitable spot to dispose of Erica's body. Detectives believe he disposed of her body between the evening of January 10th and the morning of January 11th, just 1 day before they arrested him upon his return to the Mount Laurel area on January 12th. In this case, digital clues were crucial. There was no trial because Kyle accepted a plea deal. Then on March 10, 2016, Kyle Crosby was sentenced to 31 years, 28 for aggravated manslaughter, and 3 years for hindering apprehension. He must serve 85% of the manslaughter sentence before becoming eligible for parole.
Sorry for my actions. The actions I committed were not planned out, and the after effect caused me to panic. I was scared, and I acted in unexpected ways. Lasting impression has left an indelible mark on my heart. I miss Erica, my wife, terribly. And not only do I love my wife and our children, but her family as well as mine. My in-laws always treated me as if I was a member of the family. Hopefully one day you will find it in your hearts to forgive me.
Kyle, to be honest, the choices that you made caused Erica's death, and you have taken someone so precious from us. But I will continuously raise Kaylee with the same love and passion that Erica would have raised her with.
On April 11th, about 100 of Erica's friends and family gathered, many dressed in her favorite color, purple, to say their final goodbye. On one end was Kyle's drug addiction and a history of related arrests. On the other was his wife, Erica, who loved him enough to send him to rehab despite the violent turn the relationship took. The family believes he killed her because she got in the way of his drug habit, pushing him to get clean. Since the sentencing, Sonia said, "We can finally move on with being there and picking up the pieces for the children." Although Erica often posted about the good times in her marriage, she also left subtle breadcrumbs about her troubles. In July, she posted an inspirational message on her husband's page, hinting at issues he needed to overcome. "I want him to look at me and say, 'Because of you, I didn't give up.'" Another post from October read, "A real man never hurts a woman. Be careful when you make a woman cry because God counts her tears." When Sonia cleaned out Erica's apartment, she found numerous complaints and calls to 911. She was shocked and sickened by the sheer number of them. All of this had been happening and the family had no idea. Erica had confided the details only to her best friend, who loved her and provided a sympathetic ear. She respected Erica's decisions and her relationship, despite having personal feelings about the situation. Erica did share one thing with her Aunt Sonia. Erica said that if anything should happen to her, she wanted to be cremated and placed in a locket for her daughters to keep close to their hearts forever. Sonia honored this wish for Erica's girls. Could Erica have had a premonition, considering she lost her mother in a very similar way? Sonia and Kanye adopted baby Kaylee, while 7-year-old Amira went to live with her biological father, Hammond. Hammond says that Amira constantly asks questions about her mother. Erica's family believes they would have recovered her body sooner if the police had not released Kyle after their initial interview with him. Her aunt Dana echoed this sentiment, stating that it was the family who did the investigating, not the police. What do you think about this case? Kyle took a plea deal. He's not eligible for parole until his mid-50s. Erica's friends and family didn't feel this was strict enough. Do you think Kyle's sentence is enough? Also, as part of the deal, Kyle's mother's charges were dropped. Do you think this was fair? Let's continue the conversation down in the comments section below. As always, I'll meet you there. In these stories, there are no perfect victims or people, only imperfect individuals playing various life roles. Like us, these victims have been caring friends, devoted siblings, loving parents, and supportive partners. If we can acknowledge that these roles show their capacity for love and dedication, then we can also acknowledge that they have touched lives in ways that merit gratitude. This is why I extend my thanks to the victims for being beacons of love and light despite their flaws. So thank you, Erica, for being an example of love and light. May you rest in eternal peace.